Okay.
So this is James Chung. Here we go. So with hemohim, everybody knows about what hemohim is. And we have learned a lot about how it will modulate our immunity, how it's going to help us. But James reminded me that there's two things that actually we really need to look into. Is how hemohim awaken our immunocyte, which is our own body defense system. And hemohim, we learned from a lot of our previous lessons that hemohim stands for, hemo is for hemoglobin, and H is for hematogenesis, I is for immune system, and H is for modulation. So this is what hemohim stands for, and this is what usually we base our learning from. However, with hemohim, we also learned that it's patent in the United States and in more than 7 countries. And even especially in the United States with the FDA, they actually got patent for that hemohim is a herbal composition for improving anti-cancer activities and immune response and hematopoiesis of the body and protecting the body from oxidative damage. And it strengthens, one of the main benefits of hemohim, it will strengthen and regulate our immune system, and it enhances the production of red and white blood cells. So how it regulates the immune system is what we have always known and learned from, is that if our immune system is overreactive, it will actually tone down. And when our immune system is actually low, then it will help us to boost up. And that's kind of where we know hemohim does, and this is normally what the base information that we will share with our friends, which are great because sometimes when we get too technical, people are not going to understand. And with James Chung, his lecture is actually on channel Atomy, and I'll be happy to share with all of you later on after we finish this presentation, that will share with you on the chat room to actually watch his presentation. Because what I did is I watch and try to extract from what his presentation, what he did. It's very comprehensive. Is a lot of information about how hemohim actually, why hemohim actually really works, how our body actually works, and why hemohim can kick in. So it's actually very interesting, but it's a lot of information. I have to, every minute I have to stop and wrote down notes, and I have to research on what he said. And because it's so rich in the presentation, so I did this as a summary for myself and for my team, so that we can actually understand from a dietitian, from a nutritional point of view, on why hemohim actually worked. So this is an excerpt from our website, and these are the 4 main functions that hemohim will do. We know that hemohim will increase our NK cells, our natural killer cells vitality. It will enhance the cytokine production, and it will enhance the immunity, and it will enhance the immunocyte vitality. All these biological terms is it seems very advanced, especially for us, as a general population. We just take it as is, and we just know that, okay, it will increase all these functions, but what does it really mean? James Chung dissected every single one of them, and he literally tells us, what, this is actually why NK cells vitality will increase, and this is actually why cytokine production will be enhanced, and why immunity will be enhanced, and why immunocyte vitality will also increase. So from his lecture, you will learn so much about why hemohim is so powerful, and why it's one of the most magical food supplement that we get on this world. So on the effects of hemohim, our immune system. First of all, I'm just going to put everything out. Okay, so HEMOHIM has no side effects. Okay, this is what James Chung said. But he also mentioned that about 30 to 40% of people will experience some side effects. And some people will talk about they will get headaches, they will get breakouts, diarrhea, and they feel that it's very hitty. They will have, yeah, that's what in Chinese said. So, but what actually are those? Those are actually healing effects of HEMOHIM, because what HEMOHIM does is trying to repair our guts. So one of the main thing that I find it very interesting from James Chung is he was able to let me know that the reason why HEMOHIM can improve our immune system is first that we need to understand our immune system. 80% of our immune system starts from our guts. And if our guts has problem, our immune system, we're going to have problems. And with 30 people who have like so-called side effects or that people they will experience, it's actually because their guts are not ready. It's not that HEMOHIM is not working. Is actually because the guts is not ready. So it will take time for those people to prep themselves, that the gut need to be prepped in order to be totally get HEMOHIM to work on them fully. And those are the effects that your body is actually adjusting to HEMOHIM to let it heal. And behind point number 3 is behind this reaction a whole host of chemical effects that takes place. And there are signs that the active ingredients HEMOHIM are functioning and the reaction disappears when the body heals. So that's why you will see some of them, if you experience some of these effects, that after a few weeks, it will go away. It's because now your body is ready. And then James also went on to how HEMOHIM was manufactured, how it was created. That when HEMOHIM was like in Kerry, where they produce manufacture HEMOHIM, they will put like the dongguai, the qingong, and then the baksut, like all in the urns to boil it. Like in Chinese medicine, normally that's how when we go to an herbalist, they give us the herbs and then we'll boil it and then we drink the whole thing. But because of the advanced technology of Kerry, what they did is after they boiled those 3 main ingredients, they were able to separate them to the point that they were able to discard all the things that can cause negative effects. And also by separating them from the portion, they were able to extract the 3 most important ingredients from the herbs. And those 3 are chlorogenic acid, NODAKENIN, and PAEONIFLORIN. And these 3 main ingredients is how it makes HEMOHIM so powerful. And this is actually one of the chromatogram of HEMOHIM that I got from medical studies. And then you can, at the bottom, you can see that is the reference that I got from this research. And the number 1, number 2, number 3 is showing that when they did the research, this medical research on HEMOHIM, they can actually see the pike of the chlorogenic acid, the PAEONIFLORIN, and the NODAKENIN, and how that is actually there. So I just want to show you the graph. So the components of digestive system that will have a role in our immunity. So James Chung talked about the 80% of our immune system actually origin from our guts. Okay, and our guts, it's our second brain. We have learned a lot about this. We have heard many people talk about this. And digestion is completed by good bacteria in the gut, and ingesting probiotic can help replenish depleted good bacteria. This we know about it because Atomy has probiotics, right? And we all know that when our friends that they have some guts problem, majority of us will recommend probiotic, or even for ourselves, we will actually take probiotic. And But then from James' presentation, I was able to see that actually inside our guts and our intestines, there is something called villi. And when we have unhealthy eating habits, like if we eat a lot of junks, if we eat a lot of sugar, if we eat a lot of fatty foods, if we eat a lot of sodium, like very salty thing, if we eat a lot of protein, when our diet is not balanced, it actually damages our intestinal terrain. And when the intestine lining is damaged, taking the probiotic has no effect. Later on, I'm going to show you on a graph on how the villi look. The probiotic is actually like organism that house in our intestine. If our villi, if our intestine lining is damaged, nothing we can do, like how much we take probiotic is not going to work because it cannot stay there. And then when we eat, okay, the digestive food will actually go first to the bile and then to the liver. And then sometimes when our liver is damaged, it has no symptoms until it's too late. So these are actually what, this sounds very, very textbook, okay? But James actually, he was able to let us know that when we eat the food, it goes to the stomach as we digest it, when it goes to the bile, and then from the bile to the liver. So if we have problems with our bile, and that is actually a problem of our immune system because we cannot digest fat. Okay, and from bile, our food will move on to the liver as it's secreted the enzyme for us to digest fat. So, and it also tells us that when we crave for certain foods, it's actually our body indicating a deficiency of one or more of the substance our body needs. So, and then James talked about why a holistic lifestyle will improve the health of the whole body. And HEMOHIM actually completes the puzzles for achieving the optimal health by repairing the damaged villi and supporting the liver and the bile functions. So damage to healthy villi will lead to leaky guts, okay? It is actually HEMOHIM trying to repair the villi of our guts. Yes, this is what I'm talking about. And then the scientific studies has also proven that HEMOHIM was able to rebuild the villi that was damaged. James Chung talked about there is a lot of ready medical studies that you can get through the internet, and they actually, this is what he extracted, that HEMOHIM can actually repair the villi in our guts. And this is what the picture is. So you can see on all the way to the left hand side, when this is our intestine, our linings, okay? When we are healthy, you can see all the little tiny, like the villi is tall, is strong, is not red, is not inflamed. And you can see the little house there, the little house on the healthy villi, they're actually where the probiotic is housed. This is where the probiotic will stay. So if we have healthy villi and then probiotics need to be replenished. So if we have healthy villi, when we take the probiotics, it's going to help us better, okay? However, you can see if we are stressed, if our body is stressed, or depending on the food we eat, our villi, our lining get inflamed. You can see how it goes red, and eventually it goes so damaged that it cannot even house any of the probiotic. This is why I learned, like, some of my friends told me, I have really, really bad digestive system. So I suggested them to take probiotics. But when they take the probiotic, they say, you know what, it doesn't work. It doesn't do me anything. And before, I have no clue on how to answer them, because I would just say, oh, okay, so it doesn't work. But now I actually know the reason why when they take probiotic it doesn't work is because the terrain in the system is so damaged, is so inflamed, that even if they take many probiotic, is not going to stay in the guts. They need to repair the terrain first. I find this really, really amazing. So remember the 3 active, like very powerful ingredient that hemohim was able to produce when they manufacture. The first one is chlorogenic acids. So we're now going to look into what these three powerful ingredient does. So with chlorogenic acid, it actually deals with the bile. James talked about like how our digestive system starts, right? Because there's the bile, there's the liver, there's the stomach, and then it goes into the colon. So this is all our body. So hemohim actually works holistically of our whole body. Is not just about the immune system, but because our immune system, 80% is in our guts. So this, I hope this will give you like more information on why actually hemohim works. So with hemohim, because of the way that it was produced, it resulted in this is one of the most powerful ingredients, the chlorogenic acid, and it deals with the bile. And the main problem about a lot of people that has bad immunity is because we cannot handle fat metabolism. It's because our system is so bad, like in the bile. And hemohim will repair the damaged villi in the leaky gut by forming a new terrain. Remember the picture that I showed you, the graph? Literally, like hemohim will repair the inflamed, damaged villi to the healthy ones. Of course, it's going to take time. It's not like an on-off switch, but it will repair because it was like through the medical studies, it has already proven that it can be done. So as digestive food gets transported from the gut to the liver, chlorogenic acid will actually support the bile and liver function, enhancing the hypoglycemic and hypolipidemic effects of hemohim. So this is actually how it works, and this is why hemohim actually is so powerful. So like on our daily life, like we get stressed, and then the way we eat unhealthy food and then lack of exercise will damage the terrain of our digestive system. So if you do not adopt a healthy lifestyle, even if you take hemohim, you continue damaging the lining of your guts. So what James Chung is saying that with Atomy, it actually encourages you to live a very, very healthy lifestyle, because no matter what you take, if you're not doing your part, if you're not taking your responsibility, it's not going to work. And then another point is the chlorogenic acid will increase the immunocyte vitality by stimulating the activity of natural killer cells. Remember in our Atomy website, it talked about that it will enhance the NK cells vitality. This is the reason why. The reason why hemohim can increase natural killer cells vitality is because of chlorogenic acids. It can increase the immunocyte. It will also increase the immunocyte from the T cells, the B cells, the memory cells, leading to the antibacterial and the anti-carcinogenic effects. And then number 6 is because chlorogenic acid has an antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties by attenuating pro-inflammatory cytokines. Remember, it also talk about how it enhances the cytokines. I'm going to talk a little bit more about cytokines on the next chart, but this is also where that's come from. So 80% of the information from our digestive tract goes to the brain. So in our guts, why is it called the second brain? Is because in our digestive tracts, it's actually, we send signals to our brain. So the brain will get it, and then the brain then sends signals to our adrenal gland, leading to the release of hormones that can cause muscle movement, stimulate bowel functions, and activate our body defenses. But if our guts has problem, if it cannot send signals to our brain cannot react properly, and that's why our immune system sometimes is kind of wacky, is because our gut is not healthy. And then the second powerful ingredient he talked about is the nodakenin. And what is nodakenin? Nodakenin supports the body's anti-inflammatory response. So this, when cell injured because of radiation, and this is why a lot of patients find that why when they're going through the treatment, taking hemohims really help them to relieve some of the side effects and help them to stay stronger and healthy so that they can fight better. This is because of nodakenin. So can be caused, okay. So the first area of inflammation is in our stomach, okay? A lot of time when we take something, when we take a food and our body doesn't like it, the first area that go inflame is actually our stomach, okay? And Atomy has fine sign, not yet in Canada, but we are able to get it from Singapore and then from Korea, and I believe it's in the States too. So fine sign can actually help with the upset stomach. The reason why it can help is actually help with the inflammation and also help us to digest the fat and the protein. And the second thing that will actually go inflame is our small intestine. So when our small intestine is inflamed, people tend to get very fatigued because they cannot break down the fat and sugar metabolism. So if you're a person that, you know what, I'm usually very sluggish, I get tired very easily, then you might want to look into it because it might be because your small intestine is inflamed. And then when our colon, the inflammation is in the large intestine, then we can get constipation or diarrhea. Okay, so knowing that, you will know, then you will be able to see, oh, from all this different area actually is show, like if I get this type, if I got stomach upset, if I have fatigue, if I get constipation or diarrhea, to normally it would just be, okay, I have those symptoms. But now, after learning from James Chung, from a dietitian, actually now I know that, oh, okay, this is actually from the stomach, this is actually from small intestine, and this is actually my colon that has problem. But all these area, if they're inflamed, the nodakeninin in HEMOHIM is going to help. Okay, this is another reason why HEMOHIM is so powerful. And then remember we talked a little bit about cytokines. So what is cytokines? Okay, HEMOHIM can enhance cytokines. So cytokines are actually proteins, peptides, or glycoproteins molecules that are secreted by specific cells of immune system. And the cytokines are signaling molecules that mediate and regulate immunity, inflammation, and hematopoiesis. And all these are activated from our guts. So if cytokine cannot send signal well because our gut is not healthy, we're going to be definitely have some immune system problem, right? But HEMOHIM can enhance cytokines. So we'll enhance our cytokine to be working at its optimal function to be able to send signals. And that is another reason why HEMOHIM is so powerful. And the last ingredient that is very, very amazing is the PAEONIFLORIN. So PAEONIFLORIN has a powerful immunoregulatory effect that regulates the body's autoimmune response. Remember, we talked about HEMOHIM can modulate our immune system. So if it's overactive, it will tone down. If it's under, it will boost up. Where does that come from? Now we know it's actually from the PAEONIFLORIN. So unregulated autoimmunity caused by bad eating habits, fast food, stress can lead to obesity and eventually to autoimmune disease. And PAEONIFLORIN help us to control the metabolic syndrome. And this is where, when there is a breakdown in the body's capacity to handle metabolism between sugar, protein, and fat. So it's just very, very interesting on actually when our body cannot handle sugar, cannot digest sugar, cannot digest protein or fat properly, all these problems comes up. And a lot of them is actually due to our own eating habits. So all of these is going back, James Chung is going back. HEMOHIM will help you. HEMOHIM is a great supplement, but if you don't fix your eating habits, if you don't take on a healthy lifestyle, if you are not responsible for your own health, no matter how powerful HEMOHIM is, you're not going to get the full benefit of it because you keep damaging your body. And metabolic syndrome are one of the reasons why HEMOHIM will help, because of this is what we have been suffering. Like majority of the city people are suffering is the metabolic syndrome. So metabolic syndrome is a cluster of conditions that increase the risk of heart disease, common, right? The stroke, type 2 diabetes, and that will include hypertension, high blood sugar, excess fat around the waist, and abnormal cholesterol, triglyceride. This is very common. I'm sure the majority of us here will have at least one of those things, or like some form, or knowing someone that has those type of issue. And protein is the hardest food to digest. So James Chung talked about when you eat, do take your time to eat. Don't gobble down everything, because your teeth, as you chew, it actually helps to break down the protein, so that as it goes down to your esophagus, goes down to your stomach, it will actually help your body to digest way better than to have, if you like gobble down the meat, if you eat so fast you hardly chew it and then you just swallow it. When it gets to the stomach, it's half digested and it directly go into the bloodstream. Can you imagine how difficult it is making your system has to work to digest the food? And with those half digested protein, when it gets into the bloodstream, then that's where the leaky gut is like getting the problem is. The body will not be able to metabolize it. And one of the result is gout. A lot of people, when they're getting older, they have gout. This is actually, they cannot digest protein. And one of the reasons is because they eat too fast, they are not chewing properly, and then to the point the body is getting a metabolic syndrome that they cannot digest properly. And many of us suffer from this. And this can be resolved by HEMOHIM's active ingredient, and obviously plus you adopting a healthy lifestyle. So in conclusion, how does HEMOHIM work? Because chlorogenic acid repairs the damaged villi in the leaky gut and increases the NK cells vitality, and it supports the bile and liver functions. And the NODAKENIN supports the body's anti-inflammatory response. And the PAEONIFLORIN has powerful immunoregulatory effects that help it regulate the body's autoimmune response. And it also helps to protect the body from the metabolic syndrome. So I hope from what we've learned from James Chung, now we all understand why HEMOHIM can enhance NK cells vitality, why HEMOHIM can help enhance cytokine, and why HEMOHIM can regulate our immunocytes, enhance our immunocytes, and why it regulates our immune system if it's too active or if it is too low. Thank you, and this is James Chung's on HEMOHIM.